Welcome to our fourth annual Year in Review. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us to celebrate the accomplishments of last year and to look forward to what we can accomplish next year. Our professional, progressive, and innovative motto and doing the right thing mantra continue to be our steady, guiding principles. Our areas of focus haven't changed from last year, with officer safety and employee wellness being top of the list and mental health and active threat being next up. You should be familiar with these by now, and will continue to use these as pillars for future projects and initiatives. With that being said, we'll also reprioritize our efforts to be timely and to meet the expectations of the UCF community in a time where flexibility and adaptation is critical. There were 487 line of duty deaths in 2021, including 50 officers lost in the state of Florida. Before we dive into our accomplishments, let's take a minute to reflect on their sacrifice. We're going to do things a little differently this year. Due to COVID's continued presence, we've gone virtual, and I've asked supervisors from across public safety to help me with this presentation. You may be surprised to hear people talking about areas outside of their own. It's my hope that you'll walk away with a greater understanding of just how interconnected all areas of public safety are. We truly rely on one another, and we truly are a family. I'm excited for you to hear from others and learn about our successes over the past year. Before we get started, let's take a quick look back at 2021.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. These are the 12 months of the year.
Hi, I'm Amelia Bray. I'm one of 5 commanders here at the UCF Police Department. My role is overseeing the Criminal Investigations and Threat Management Division. I oversee 11 detectives and 2 civilian analysts and case managers. We've leveraged technology through the pandemic to help continue to serve our community and solve crimes. I wanted to share a few quick stats to show the difference between 2021 and 2020 and how hard our staff continues to work even during a pandemic. Calls for service up from 2020, but that's to be expected because everyone was back on campus. Our Criminal Investigations Division also closed several cases and dealt with many persons of concern. Patrol officers took bad people off the streets and saved many lives through Baker Acts and emergency responses, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Hi, I'm Derek Stockdriver, Major of our Administration Bureau of the UCF Police Department. In 2021, the good work by UCF Police Department employees never stopped. We are grateful to have a supportive community that recognized some of the great actions by members of UCF PD. Here are some of the highlights from 2021. Patrol provided security for several large events on campus, including sporting events, controversial speakers, and protests. Delta Squad attended the graduation of Alina Kondek, a surviving daughter of a fallen law enforcement officer. Officer Austin Quinn, who was working on midnight shift patrol, submitted a tip to the Northport Police Department after researching license plate recognition hits on a car that was affiliated with Brian Laundrie, who was accused of murdering girlfriend Gabby Petito, and launched a nationwide search. Quinn then worked alongside Dog the Bounty Hunter to attempt to locate Laundrie. UCF-PD was named radio station 103.1 The Wolf's Agency of the Month for June. Fundraising efforts raised $2,100 for National Alliance on Mental Illness, $5,200 for Special Olympics Florida, and $12,000 for the Police Unity Tour. Our officers saved at least 9 people, most of them students, during 2021. 6 were saved when our officers intervened in suicide attempts, and 2 were saved from overdoses by the use of naloxone. Here are 2 examples of our life-saving efforts. The first was in January, which involved Officer Greg Nelson talking a female student off the ledge of a parking garage.
Hey! Hi, what's your name? Mind stepping over the ledge on this side for me? Yeah? Okay, can I help you? My hand. Okay? I want to make sure you're okay. Come on. Come with me. Okay? Okay? Okay, let's take a seat. Okay? What's going on? Talk to me. Talk to me. What's that?
240, you need FD.
I don't want to be here anymore.
Why not? What's going on?
Get out of this point. 128 hours.
I appreciate you coming back onto the right side of the ledge for me.
The second was in September when Charlie's squad responded to an overdose victim at the entrance of campus. He was given 2 doses of Narcan and would have certainly died without it.
All of advising his friend took oxycodone and is not breathing. FD has the call.
Here you go, buddy. Keep breathing, man. All right, roll him on the side if he's breathing. No. He's got a heartbeat. Yeah. Hey, keep breathing.
I think we should give him a second dose.
Hey, keep breathing, dude. 2 Narcan deployments.
Not a code, this is an overdose. Alrighty.
You good?
Yeah, we're good. Here he comes.
Listen, guys, I don't know what y'all's drug history is, but if someone, for whatever reason, y'all feel like y'all need to do drugs, if someone gets like that, stop whatever you're doing and call 911.
I wasn't in the house.
It's fine. Call 911 from wherever he was, because he probably would have died. If you would try to take him to the hospital, he would have died. This thing right here saved his life. Yeah.
Our regional patrol squads have perfected the art of balancing patrol duties with extensive community partnership efforts. Officers bought Italian ice for the children at Paramore Kids Zone. Our officers partnered with the Livingston Street Church of God for food drives. And our regional patrol officers visited with the New Image Youth Center kids, including hosting a magic show for them. And now I will hand it off to Major Scott Freeman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Freeman, and I'm the operations major here at the UCF Police Department. In my bureau, I oversee police services for our patrol divisions, which provides 24/7 police coverage to all of our campus locations, our criminal investigations division, where our detectives are housed and they investigate and solve crime, and our fleet division, where we maintain over 150 police and public safety vehicles. You know, 2021 was a challenging year, no doubt, and the police department was not immune from that. But one area where I think we got the biggest return on our investment and really excelled was in crisis intervention. Our continued training in crisis intervention every year has helped our officers save lives, a couple of which you saw earlier in this presentation. And for those efforts, I'm extremely proud, and we'll continue to make it one of our primary focus areas for the police department for the foreseeable future. Our criminal investigations division is where we house our detectives who investigate and solve crime. We have a number of detectives here at the police station, and several that we deploy out to local, state, and federal task forces. One task force agent who was particularly successful in 2021 was Detective Eric Walton. Eric is assigned to the United States Secret Service Task Force and was recognized for his exemplary efforts as both the 5th-ranked forensic examiner in the nation and for his efforts at thwarting gas pump skimmers in the United States. Congratulations to Eric. Our in-house detectives also investigated and solved several high-profile and impactful cases in 2021, and they were able to leverage new technology to assist. License plate readers at every entrance and exit to the campus are an example of such technology. With the help of the license plate readers, detectives were able to locate several stolen vehicles on campus and even identify a serial video voyeur that visited several state university campus locations to victimize students. Detectives also worked hard to locate and arrest Vernon Kreider, an airline pilot who installed a spy camera outside of a UCF student's apartment window. After some great detective work and pulling information from the camera, detectives arrested and charged him with burglary and attempted video voyeurism. Great job. At the end of the year, the UCFPD received a call from a student saying a male was filming her with his cell phone as she used a women's restroom on campus. She said he quickly left the scene after she confronted him. Thanks to the license plate readers, surveillance cameras, and diligent detective work, DeAndre Mason was identified as the suspect and was discovered coming back onto campus days later and was arrested for video voyeurism before being able to victimize anyone else in the UCF community. Detectives also learned that DeAndre was a suspect of similar activity at other campus locations in Florida. Excellent job. In 2021, our officers made 270 arrests, investigated 16 sex offense crimes, and conducted 4 death investigations. Our threat management team continued to be a successful part of our criminal investigations division in 2021. Most impactfully, our threat management team authored 2 risk protection orders, prohibiting the identified person in the risk protection order from purchasing or owning firearms because of an elevated risk of self-harm or harm to others. Additionally, our threat management team conducted 134 individual threat assessments, identifying 30 people of concern who they continue to monitor today. As a crisis intervention team practitioner myself, I know how critical mental health is and how much it impacts our community. As you can see, our Baker Acts were up from last year, but down overall. This was partially a result of COVID and also a result of partnering with a mobile crisis team who assisted us in vetting some of our mental health calls in 2021.
Happy New Year. I'm Sergeant Matthew Scott from the UCF Police Department. I'm the supervisor of the Charlie Squad on the night shift, and this is going to be my portion of the 2021 year in review. One of the things that I know I missed on campus at the police department was all of our in-service training, all the in-person trainings that we'd get to do at the department. I really sorely missed being able to meet with all the different officers and be able to talk and catch up with everybody instead of doing everything so impersonally on Zoom. So I look very much forward to all the wonderful things that 2022 is going to bring, especially us moving back to a lot of the in-person, in-service trainings that we get to do. So with that said, we're going to move on to my portion of the year in review. We'll first start out by talking about our Community Partnerships Unit. Their list of accomplishments this year is rather long, so I'll pick only a few of the things to highlight. We started Chilling with Chipper events with Detective Guadagnino from our Criminal Investigations Unit this year. Chipper is our therapy canine and is used as a distressor event for the students on campus. They're able to take pictures with the canine, love on it, and ask therapy-related questions to Detective Guadagnino. We're looking to foster conversation with this program. Another program utilizing therapy animals brings Honey the Mini Horse and her friends to campus. Used in another de-stressing event, students are able to love on these animals, ask questions about them, and go into either their midterm or their finals with a more relaxed mindset. Our Community Partnership Unit has seen even more success by hosting hundreds of outreach events such as Coffee with a Cop, Mighty Night Self-Defense, and have attended tabling events hosted by other departments on campus. Now, they've had to overcome some new challenges presented by COVID-19 and distance learning this year, so they've tackled those obstacles wonderfully, and we all look forward to other accomplishments 2022 will bring this unit. Our Community Partnerships Unit also coordinated blood drives with One Blood for public safety and community members, collecting 18 gallons of blood in 2021, which has the potential of saving over 400 lives.
Hey guys, my name is Christian. I'm out here with One Blood on the Big Red Bus. We just want to let you know that we're going to be on UCF campus now and going forward, and we really just want to get the word out about how important it is to donate blood. So you might not know this, but every 1 in 3 people are donating a blood transfusion in their life, and it's important now more than ever with COVID that we have donations. Every donation is going to save up to 1 in 3 lives, and we really hope that we can get your support. It's a great cause, and we hope to see you out here.
Blood is a precious gift, and just the feeling of knowing that your blood, the one that you're donating, could be used to save someone's life or several people's life is great. I love their perks, and I love their cookies.
After a year of virtual events, we were only too happy to be back working in-person events on campus. We welcome Corporal Pete Stevens and former dispatcher Jesse Brady to the special events team. They've both risen to the task and done an amazing job. Here are a few highlights to consider. So, about 182 events were coordinated, including some home football games. About 2,200 hours worked by our staff. We assisted in COVID vaccination events that primarily occurred in the A Garage on campus. Corporal Stevens was recognized as HR's Employee of the Month for September 2021. Congratulations on a job well done, Pete. Now let's talk about UCF football game days. Go Knights and charge on, but maybe not so late, you know? The first football game included a 3-hour lightning delay, which moved the start time from 7 p.m. to about 10 p.m. in the evening. Most officers working the game didn't get home until 2 a.m. or even later. This was our first lightning delay in 14 years of football game days. So we adjusted our lightning protocols before the second game so we were well prepared to address any lightning delay or any issues for that second game. That one thankfully only lasted an hour when the lightning delay did come about. So long student lines were also an issue during the first game, over a mile long. So we were able to work with athletics to make improvements for any subsequent game thereafter. Next is our Professional Standards, Training, Accreditation, and Internal Affairs Division. We've long prided ourselves on offering exceptional training at this agency, and we've continued that legacy in 2021. Our training unit has been very busy, and a part of the regular training they conducted, they've also managed to add new courses for our officers to take. A few highlights included adding Wells-built museum tours to our training curriculum for new hires, hosting RIGHT training for all UCF PD employees, investing in Bolo Wraps, which is a new device, a non-lethal way to detain suspects, hosting realistic block training on active threats and Baker Acts, and inviting community partners to watch and ask questions. Also of note, our accreditation team completed the UCF PD in-house assessment, and Cynthia served on the scoring board for the SWAT Roundup Invitational. Well done, Cynthia. Here now for a little bit more information on that Bolo Wrap device I talked about earlier. In April, UCFPD invested in Bolo Wraps, a remote restraint device created to replace use of force tactics. Let's watch the video to learn more about how they work for those who hasn't seen them yet in action.
The Bolo Wrap is a remote restraint device that is designed to temporarily detain an individual who is not combative but needs to be restrained from a distance. The Bolo Wrap deploys 2 anchors that are connected by an 8-foot Kevlar cord. The Kevlar cord can restrain a subject's arms and/or legs. The anchors each have 4 hooks on the end of them. The hooks are designed to catch the subject's clothing and hold the cord in place. The Bolo Wrap uses a line laser for aiming. The anchor and cord are propelled by the use of a .380 caliber blank that does sound similar to a handgun being discharged.
Hello, I'm Christine Mouton, the Director of the Division of Victim Services, and I would like to provide some information regarding our Communications Center, as they are an integral part of our agency. You can see the impressive numbers on this slide, but that doesn't begin to show how much our dispatchers have accomplished this year. They've had to adapt and remain flexible after COVID swept through our department and their unit earlier this year, many picking up shifts to cover colleagues that unfortunately were out sick. We've also had some turnover, including Robin Collins as our Communications Center Manager, who retired in December after more than 30 years working in dispatch, most of those years which were at UCF. We're also proud of the hard work our dispatchers do and decided to upgrade the Communications Center this year with all new furniture, along with technology upgrades, of which 50% of the cost was covered by Orange County 911. This was not an easy feat, as you can imagine, as the Communications Center needed to remain functional during the transition. So we're thankful to everyone that was involved with this project.
Hello guys, Corporal Rico Lopez here. Civilian personnel sometimes wouldn't hear so much about them, but they're here providing the backbone to help sworn personnel do their job much easier, and we really appreciate what they do. Thank you. Records and evidence has to deal with the police department's cases all year, and we are so thankful for the hard work and diligence to help us solve our cases and make us look good. Both teams have been incredibly busy responding to public records requests, lost and found items, and other assignments for records retention. Shout out to Shauna for handling hundreds of requests for good citizen records with the utmost professionalism and integrity. Great job, Shauna. It was a busy hiring year with 18 positions posted and hundreds of applications reviewed, and more than 55 background investigations were completed. Several building projects were completed, including setting up a temporary dispatch center while furniture was installed, HVAC and chiller upgrades, and a brand new water bottle filling stations that came out as a recommendation from our engagement committee.
Hi, I'm Joe Thalheimer, and I'm the Director of Emergency Management. I know, you guys were hoping for Stanley Tucci, but this is as close as you're gonna get. You know, I have this reputation for getting in front of the camera and delivering bad news. So let's buck that trend for a day. Forget about hurricanes, pandemics, and any other natural disaster. Let's talk about something good. Let's talk about Clary, procurement, support services, and IT. As always, Debbie Pope continues to make us look good. She was highlighted during the National Campus Safety Awareness Month's virtual summit. She started the Clary Compliance Officer Certification Program, created the Clary Compliance Advisory Council, and launched the Campus Security Authority Identification Project university-wide. Sergeant Paul White took over procurement earlier this year and has been busy learning the ropes. He's been ordering and issuing equipment for new officers, surplusing old vehicles, and ordering supplies for our departments. These units keep our department functioning daily. A shout out to Pete Osterreiter, who was named new Support Services Commander after Tony Marola's retirement. He helped us get new Axion cameras and docks, a grant for new tourniquets and holders, and migrated our Blu-rays to evidence.com. IT launched a new public safety survey to better serve our officers and staff members. They worked through COVID challenges to issue new laptops and employees, and helped with dispatch's temporary setup.
2021 proved to be another challenging year, and we couldn't be prouder of all the compassionate and individualized services you have provided for the victims and their families. But most of all, thank you for your kindness, care, and love, and for being the inspiration the world needs during these difficult times. With the community back on campus, Victim Services was, unfortunately, again, very busy this year, with over 428 new clients. They continued hosting special events in a virtual format where they found more success than some in-person events. Christine Mouton was highlighted in Pegasus magazine recognizing the 20th anniversary of her response to 9/11. Great job, Christine. Green Dot hosted 48 trainings and overviews to reach over 1,000 individuals on campus. As one of our areas of focus, we recognized Denim Day during National Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April. With support from the UCF president, let's hear what he had to say.
On April 28th, we encourage you to join us in wearing denim with a purpose. In 1992, an Italian court ruled against a young victim of sexual violence because they believed the tightness of her jeans signaled consent.
The following day, some members of the Italian parliament protested this ruling by wearing jeans in solidarity. This day has become known internationally as Denim Day, when people around the world wear their jeans to support survivors of sexual assault.
Let's be clear, sexual violence and assault are not tolerated at UCF. Whether you are on campus or at home, we hope you will add some denim to your black and gold to show support for survivors everywhere.
It was another busy year of COVID monitoring for emergency management, unfortunately. But they've also had a few highlights along the way. They were named the Weather Ready Nation Ambassador for Easy Central Florida by NWS Melbourne. They hosted Hurricane Gus exercise virtually, as well as activated the EOC for football games. Great job, emergency management, and thank you for all you do for us. The Department of Security continues to make campus a safe place to live, learn, work, and play. So much of the work that they do helps us prevent our community from being victimized, and also to help police solve crimes when they do occur, so we can make things as right as possible for our victims. Among the major successes was the installation of campus lockdown buttons that can be activated by dispatch and adding card access to several buildings on UCF main and regional campuses. They've also started upgrading the LPR system and planning for the addition to more garages. Thank you, security team, again for all you do. All right, Chief, handing it off to you.
Thank you to everyone who took the time to celebrate our accomplishments from last year. We expect 2022 to be even busier than 2021. We'll be selecting a new deputy chief and be switching patrol commanders, with Commander Vargas moving downtown and Commander Mangan moving to the main campus. Due to retirements and departures, we'll be hiring, swearing in, and training 7 new police officers. Like the rest of the campus, we'll be involved in the SET and night vision projects. We'll be working with Central Budget to replace our departing budget manager. We'll be hiring a new administrative assistant for the chief's office, hiring a new comm center manager, hiring a mental health practitioner for our threat management team to replace a sworn detective, and we'll replace our community partnership supervisor. We will continue to work the hundreds of events on campus, and we fully expect our football team to continue to find success on the field and fill our stadium. Finally, we will continue to strive to be the most professional, progressive, and innovative campus police department in the country. We have a couple of big events coming up in the near future that everyone needs to put on their calendars. First, on February 23rd, we'll be holding our UCF Public Safety Awards ceremony, which is a big day for us, where we acknowledge all the hard work of last year. In March or April of 2022, we'll be swearing in our new officers. More to follow on that. We fully expect to push out notification on the exact date here in the next month or so. Our New Year's pledge: continue to do the right thing. Sir Robert Peel, the founder of modern policing, is quoted as saying, "The public are the police, and the police are the public." We are a part of the UCF community, and we care deeply about this campus and our students, faculty, and staff. We're here to protect and serve our campus to make it a safe place to learn, live, and work. And we'll always be here for you. A few years ago, I remember seeing an interview with a person who had intended to commit suicide. They were walking on a sidewalk when a stranger passing by smiled at them and gave them a friendly greeting. This impacted the person so much that they changed their mind, went home, and they've gone on to lead a meaningful, positive life. So remember, we all need to work together to make our campus community the safe, caring place we all want it to be. Thanks to all of you for what you do, for who you are, and for your support of the UCF Public Safety family. Go Knights, charge on.